Well, hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Williams, Senior Editor at MGMA and host of the MGMA Podcast Network. Today, we are back again spotlighting one of our 2025 MGMA Award winners. And I'm really excited about this particular award. It's our ACMPE Forum Representative of the Year Award. And it goes to an MGMA leader who serves as a state ACMPE Forum Representative. And it really steps up to guide and inspire members through that certification and fellowship journey. So our guest today is our forum representative winner, and that is Michelle Mainord. Michelle is a practice administrator at Cookeville Gynecology in Tennessee. And as I said, is the winner of this year's ACMPE Forum Rep of the Year. So first of all, Michelle, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. I was so surprised to be the recipient, and I'm just very grateful to be joining you today.
That's wonderful. And you and I were talking offline a little bit, and Michelle, everyone, is a fellow MGMA podcast listener. Michelle, thank you for listening.
Yes, the voice is familiar and makes this a little bit easier.
Well, that's good. That's good. And we have a lot of fun this time of year because we've got our Leaders Conference coming up. We are going to be formally announcing all of the award winners at a event at the show. We're going to show a video clip from these videos that we're recording right now. And so it's going to be great to have y'all there. And I'll tell you a funny story, Michelle. I'll be at the annual event. I'll be just chatting away with people, and somebody comes up and just taps me on the shoulder and says, "I know your voice." You know, they sometimes, because they're listening to the audio, they may not know what I look like, but they hear me, and we'll have a big laugh about that and chat. So I'm looking forward to getting to talk to a lot of people at the show. Are you going to be able to get down to Orlando? Do you know?
Yes, I'm excited to see everybody. You know, that we sometimes we're on Zooms together, but actually meeting in person is such a great experience, and getting to really, hug and say hi and catch up is always so fun.
That is fun. So have you been to some of the MGMA face-to-face events before?
I have. Even earlier this year in June, went up to Minnesota for the private practice conference, which was great. So I think it was the second one they had ever had, but it was right. Really a great conference.
That is wonderful. I have not been to one of our private practice ones yet, but I am hoping to change that in 2026. I've been to the Leaders Conference, and before that it was known as the annual conference every year since 2018. And then I've been to several of the financial conferences and operations conferences in the spring. So I love that because we get to communicate throughout the year, but when you get to be face-to-face with people, hang out with them, as you were saying, give them a hug if it's somebody you know.
Right. It's great.
Yeah, just get to know people there. So that is wonderful. Before we get too deep into that, I'll just ask you right now, what are you looking forward to in Orlando? Are you like an amusement park person? Do you like to go swim with the dolphins? Do you want to go alligator hunting? What are you going to be doing in Orlando?
Well, I have been to Orlando many times. I will have to say the location didn't make the, going any better, I guess, for me this year. But we had taken the kids many years, even had family, that lived close for a while they were in school. So we've done all the amusement park stuff, and it's great. But my husband and I will be traveling, so we'll probably just enjoy some good dinners and just really spend time with some of the other people that I rarely get to see. So
yeah, you don't do the amusement parks too much?
Well, we would, but the kids would probably, even though they're grown now, they would be upset if we went without them. So we probably should avoid that.
Yeah, I will tell you a funny story about that. About 10 years or so ago, I got talked into riding one of the roller coasters with my daughter and family, and I felt like I had an out of body experience, and not in a good way. And I said, you know what? I'll pay for y'all, and I'm going to sit over on this bench in the shade and read a book. So
That
that's what I
sounds
did.
like a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get to know you a little bit better then. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you? Where is Cookeville located in Tennessee? Is that up in the Knoxville area, or where is that? Am I totally off in my geography?
Well, we're halfway between Nashville and Knoxville.
Okay.
So
Okay.
along I-40. So
Okay.
a very um, convenient part of the state as far as you can be in the large cities of Nashville, Knoxville, or Chattanooga, all in about an hour to an hour and a half.
Great.
And that means that we're a regional center. And, we have one large hospital in our county, but we have a 14 county region, and not all the counties in that region have hospitals. So we see people that drive an hour, hour and a half to get to us at our facility, and it would be 2+ hours to get to, a really large city for them. So we do have a catchment area that extends beyond just our local, county.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Now, Cookeville Gynecology, is it attached to the hospital, or explain what is the makeup of Cookeville? What's the size and scope of the practice?
Sure. We're physician owned.
Okay.
So, and basically the physician that I work for was in a practice of OB gynecologist, started in 97 actually. And it was the largest practice and still is the largest practice for OBGYN in the community. And basically after 14 years, he decided he wanted to retire from OB and then do just gynecology only. He was going to start his own practice, and I had been his nurse, and he had asked me to, be willing to jump into the role of administrator and help him with that endeavor. Reluctantly, I agreed to at least check into that and facilitate getting it open. We were sort of in a time crunch at that point, and really, MGMA was my first exposure to the financial side of healthcare or healthcare business. And it was a 6-week crash course, and it was a financial boot camp actually that opened my eyes to that process. And our practice now has grown. We have 6 providers. We originally started, it was the physician owner and 1 nurse practitioner, and now we have 6 providers, and we have a patient population of 20,000 people. Okay. So just, in our practice.
Well, let me ask you, this is so interesting. I talked to somebody else, another award winner earlier, and they did that same move, but from the nursing side to the administrative side. What was your was there any trepidation? What was the friction points of you being on the clinical side, moving to that administrative side? Did y'all have like code words for those administrators? I mean, nicknames for them. I mean, what was it like to be on the move over to that administrative side?
Well, my experience and from other people that I've spoken with, they have a similar experience a lot of times where the front is against the back, you might say. The front office people and the clinical people don't always see eye to eye, and there's a friction. And so we worked very hard to make sure that that was not the case. And I do feel like having that clinical background made it easier to facilitate some of the changes that were necessary, that continue to be necessary. We live in a constant state of flux in healthcare, and being able to sort of bridge that gap. We also have relied on cross training. We have some MAs, that work in the front and the back, and walking a mile in somebody else's shoes definitely helps you understand where they're coming from. So I had a lot to learn in the transition process, but it was valuable to have that clinical knowledge as well.
Yeah, I think that's such a fascinating thing. And it's so interesting Because when you're in your role, whatever that role may be, wherever you are in business, you're thinking like, well, we do it right on our side. It's them over there. They're the ones doing things wrong. It's giving you a real interesting perspective where you're able to see a practice from both sides of the aisle, so to speak. Talk about that
Yes.
and how that has helped you be a better administrator.
It truly has enabled me to share what I know is going to make a difference for that person that's hearing what I'm trying to say. I'll just use ABN forms as an example. Medicare requires advanced beneficiary notice forms.
Okay.
And I know on the clinical side, when I had to, deal with those, that's not something that was always on the top of mind. That seemed to be more an administrative function. However, we have to capture things that are necessary at the point of care that it makes the most sense. And so if you can explain something to a person in a way that they get, okay, we have to do this in order to get paid, then it's more easily understood and hopefully top of mind for them to be able to accomplish the task that we need them to do, ultimately to make healthy financial decisions for the practice.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. Now, we're here today to talk to you. You've got so much going on, and I could sit here and just talk to you about that all day, but I really want to talk about your honor that you've received, and that is that ACMPE Forum Representative of the Year. Talk about that a little bit. What is that? And I want to look at it from the state point of view. You have been serving both as the Tennessee ACMPE Forum Rep and the president of your local chapter. So share a little bit about that. That's a lot of hats you're wearing in addition to all the work you do at your practice.
Well, and those are volunteer opportunities that really do mean a lot. They certainly require some time, but I feel like people have shared their time and knowledge with me, and it's important for me to continue that service, that tradition of service. And the two kind of complement each other in a way. Having the knowledge of the ACMPE Forum Rep, the ability to have the resources to share with other people certainly allows me to encourage the local chapter people as well as the TMGMA people. And it really is a commitment for someone to start that path through ACMPE. And, they have to define their why to make it mean something, in order to complete it. And I fortunately have been surrounded by great teams of people. Both Tennessee MGMA and the Upper Cumberland MGMA have good processes in place, and they have people that are willing to step up when asked. So it's not like I'm doing it alone by any means, but they do complement each other, I feel like.
So for any of our listeners who may be scratching their head and going, what language are they speaking? I know I've not been involved with the ACMPE side of things or the forum reps. Give us an idea. What is your role as the forum rep? What are you doing? What are your responsibilities?
My job is to facilitate people that are moving through the college who are trying to get certified or trying to obtain fellowship. And we know those are processes, and there's different tracks involved. For instance, it depends on your educational level as well as your previous experience in the role. There is a track for people who are still in school. Maybe they are, getting their business degree and they know they're going into healthcare and interested, so they can start the process, but there's a special track for them and it's going to take them longer than somebody, for instance, who may have 6 years of managerial experience in healthcare, for example. So knowing how to communicate that information to the person where they are really breaks it down, because it can get confusing, for people to understand the track that they need to be on.
Okay. Now, a big part of what you've been doing is leading educational opportunities might be quarterly study groups, might be ACMPE boot camps.
Yes.
Talk about what that means. You have been through it. Now you're giving back. Talk about the reward that it is to be part of that. And if you want to share anything about what that learning process even looks like.
Sure. And things have changed over time. When I actually became certified in 2020, I had started the process in 2019, pre-COVID, as we know. Everything is sort of pre-COVID and post-COVID now. That's how we relate to things a lot of times. And so I had taken my first exam in the fall of 19. And at that point, we didn't get automatic results. Now that they do, they're able, unless they take the test in August. In August, the test is changing. And so they do have to wait for the results, kind of like I had to do. But if they don't take it in August, then they get the results immediately, which I think is great because I had to wait several weeks and got an email at dinner one night. And I was sort of afraid to open the email because I was like, if it's bad news, this is not going to be a good dinner.
I know.
We were at a nice restaurant and I was like, and my husband, he said, go ahead and open it. I feel good about it. So I did, and I had passed. And then I hadn't scheduled to take my next exam until I found out the results. Well, then COVID came along.
Yeah.
And I was able to do the test, remotely, where it was proctored remotely. And that was a whole learning experience initially. We look back now and this is, having these Zoom meetings and everything is just sort of commonplace. But at the time, it wasn't. But fortunately, I passed the scenario exam as well and was able to, become certified that year and had great people that continued to encourage me on that journey to consider fellowship. And as we've been talking about all the changes that happen in healthcare, especially during COVID, it was like, okay, I can't do that right now. But it was definitely on my mind. And those great people like Deb Hudson, Karen Bowman, Deanna Brown, I would see them at the TMGMA events and they would keep encouraging me and reassuring me, you can do this. We did this, you can do this. And it was really great to have that support. And that's what I want to kind of share and give back to other people who, it's like you think about it, but it's a commitment. And truly, they can do it. And people know more than they think they do. But it does require effort for sure. So I just want to share that encouragement with them.
It does seem like the ACMPE program and the fellowship, even though there's an individual being recognized because you're the one doing the work, it does seem like mentorship, whether it was you being mentored, now you mentoring others, that plays a key role in the process. Talk about what that mentorship has been like and where you've seen success with it.
I was so thrilled when one of the TMGMA members, she fellowshiped this year. She had been working on it for quite some time and we had had some discussions, but even previous forum reps, to me had encouraged her along the way, but she just hadn't got there. And she was able to have a presentation actually at our local chapter. And that was the end or solidified her, receiving it. And it was just thrilling when she called up, just so excited, to finally have achieved that accomplishment. And she's planning to be in Orlando and I'm just happy to get to watch her walk across the stage. And I remember having that same feeling just a few years ago, of pride and, a stamp of approval and having other people that understands what that means.
Mm-hmm. You have been through the process. Now you're a forum rep. What are there consistent or year to year, some of the friction points or challenges about someone going through the program? Does that stay pretty consistent, and what are they?
Well, I think time is a big factor, because the responsibilities of a practice leader, practice manager are so, we just don't have enough of time. And I feel like we give so much to other people, we sort of put ourselves on the back burner sometimes. But you will be a better manager or administrator if you go through the process. And I have had a lot of people that have said the certificate program for principles of practice management is actually a good confidence builder. Gives them an overall view of, the things that are going to be important, things that are going to be tested upon. And having that confidence often will spur them to go on to get the certification. Going through the study groups is great because you are interacting with other people that are in the same boat that you're in. They're trying to achieve this too. And, we had our study group today actually, and the topic was financial management. Had a great forum rep from Texas, Christian, who was presenting, and people are sharing information in the chat and interacting, and it's truly, I think, encouraging just to know other people are on this journey too, and everybody's journey may be different, but it's similar, and you just sort of feel that sense of camaraderie.
Yeah. Final thought then, as you're thinking about the ACMPE program, what excites you about it? What is it about the program that, gets you up, that goes, wow, I'm tired, or I am burned, I've been burning the candle at both ends this week, but, you have that meeting with people and you're going to sit in with them. What is it that excites you about that?
What excites me most about the future of ACMPE is how it continues to evolve with the challenges that we're seeing. The field of healthcare is fast moving, new technologies, new care models, higher expectations for patient care, I think are also always concerning to us. And I think we're uniquely positioned to help leaders stay ahead, even in that type of environment. For me, I am passionate about mentoring, and the most rewarding part is supporting members on their journey. Whether that's starting certification, pursuing fellowship, or just building confidence in their leadership abilities. I see my role as helping people connect the dots between where they are and where they want to be, and making sure that they feel supported and encouraged along the way.
All right. Well, Michelle Mainord, congratulations again on being MGMA's ACMPE Forum Representative of the Year. And thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it so much. And again, I'm humbled and just blessed to have the people that have supported me, and appreciate them so much.
Yeah. And it's just hearing your story. It just seems like it's a real cycle, where you go through it. You've got all these questions as somebody in the program. You've got these people helping lift you up. And then you turn around and do that. Once you're through the program, you turn around and help others. So it's just a really cool cycle in a circle there.
Yes, I think the tradition of service is necessary, for us to continue to develop leaders that are going to be capable of meeting the challenges in the future.
All right. Well, Michelle and the other award winners will be honored during the general session at the 2025 MGMA Leaders Conference in Orlando. They're going to be honored on Monday, September 29th from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. at that main stage program there. So you can spot them there and cheer them on. So we look forward to celebrating them. I look forward to meeting with Michelle and other award winners and meeting with y'all in Orlando. So until then, thanks for being MGMA podcast listeners.